What is up, everybody? This is Upgrade Cards, and welcome back to another video. This week, I thought I'd bring you guys along for a vlog type video to show you guys what a card show is like and kind of what it's like to be a vendor. I'm leaving my area I live in, heading about 20 to 30 minutes away to Springfield, Missouri, and we're going to be doing the 417 card show at Relics Event Center. Relics is an antique mall. It's huge. It used to be like a factory for either cars or just something like that, and then at one point it was something else before it became an antique mall. It's super cool if you like antique malls, and then on top of that, there's a card show. So it's a win-win for any of you guys who like that kind of stuff. But I want to bring you along and kind of show you guys what it's like to be a vendor. We're going to set up 3 hours before the show starts, and then of course I want clear transparency with you guys of this is how much a table costs, this is what goes into it, and so on and so forth. For this show, a table was $40. I am splitting it, so it's only going to cost me $20. And then on top of that, I don't get a lot of space. That stinks, but I'm bringing along as much as I can to fill that space. And then I'm also bringing along a Plinko game where people can choose $1, $5, $10, or $20 Plinko drops. Because I thought, you know, rather than just set it at $1 or $5 or whatever, people can choose. And if you do $20, you're going to win a signed mini helmet. Or if you do $1, you have a chance to win a jersey or an auto, something like that. So I'm very excited for this one. We're going to get in here. We're going to try to set up quickly. Maybe look around at other people's. We've brought snacks, so we don't have to spend money on that. At the end of the day, table cost is the only thing I'm really going to put in here. I'm not going to worry about gas. We're not staying at a hotel or B&B, so we don't have to factor that in. So it's one of the cheapest shows we're going to do by far. If you guys like these vlogs for the shows, let me know down in the comments, and if there's any challenges or anything else you guys would like to see, let me also know down there. But the next time I see you guys, we'll be set up, and I'll kind of show you guys what the floor space looks like. So it's day 2 of the 417 card show. I know it feels like I hopped really quickly from day 1 to day 2. I wish I would have gotten more footage throughout the day, but as many of you know who have done vending at card shows, it gets really, really, really busy. We started off the day, we arrived 3 hours early, barely finished setting up before people started coming in 15 to 30 minutes early, and I dropped a monster box full of cards everywhere and had to completely reorganize it all over again, which was a total nightmare. On top of that, splitting the table and getting that all figured out was a little difficult at first. Finding room was a little difficult. We did get to move somewhere more to the center of the room and receive more traffic. And then my friend Chris, who I do a lot of these shows with, I've shouted him out on the breaks and whatnot for his website. He also had to take some time to also set up. At the end of the day, though, I was a little disappointed in what I made. I only made $160. That was, to me, disappointing because my goal for this weekend was $500 for a 2-day show. That means like $250 a day when you break it down, which isn't terrible. This is a Saturday, though. It is a holiday weekend. So that could kind of make sense on why some of these days are slower compared to others. This is also the first show I've done since school has been out, which meant the kids were running around like crazy, trying to do trades and things like that. I completed one trade throughout the entire day, which was I traded the 1996 Michael Jordan, I think it was HGA 9.5, that I got in the Kansas City collection for a Dan Marino Drew Brees jersey card. I couldn't believe like a 10-year-old had this card from like 2006. And Dan Marino is a legend. Drew Brees, in my opinion, even though he's only won a Super Bowl, is a future Hall of Famer. So my thoughts are that that card could go up in value. We traded 30 in value for 30 in value, just a straight trade. The kid was more than willing. Parents are always welcome, you know, to step in and say something if they feel it's unfair. But, you know, the dad was like, this is your thing, I'm going to let you do it. I showed him sold eBay comps on both. And in the end, he was happy with it, and I'm glad. Alright, so it's a couple days after day 2, and you may be wondering, why it's been so long. For those of you who have never been a vendor at a card shows can actually be more exhausting than I used to think. Our goal was to be busy all day. It was a Saturday, it was a holiday weekend, and then sure enough, it wasn't busy. We could see the opposite wall, as we had been told so many times we wouldn't see, and things like that. So that was a little disappointing that we weren't very busy. However, in reference to our goal of 500, like I said at the beginning, with 4 feet of table room, we did not reach that goal. We got about $400, just a little over actually. And that does include any food purchases, gas purchases, and also our table purchase. As I alluded to in the beginning of the video, tables I said were 40, they were actually 60. I paid 30, I paid my half. On top of that, I'm going to kind of do a breakdown for you guys of how much we made from each little area of my section of the table. So to start, Plinko, which is something I did where people could choose 1, 5, 10, or 20. 2 pucks had to land in the same color for people to win the prize. That actually made about $125. That made the most out of anything, which is honestly rather interesting and was one I was excited for. Once people kind of, got used to it and I could explain it, it made more sense. And one thing I've done for this next show, which is next week in Sikeston, about 4 hours away, is essentially taking the time to not necessarily dumb it down, but write out the instructions more clear. And so people don't have to ask, what's with the Plinko, what's with the wheel spin? It can be more forward and more obvious. The next amount we made, or the second highest, was from the case. The case, I got rid of a Genesis Jamar Chase. I sold that for like 50 or 60. A Chris Jones Rookie Prism Auto was about $50 as well. And then I think there was one other card that I honestly don't even remember. We made about 120 out of our case. I also had a box, which I alluded to earlier in the vlog, that fell day 1 and took me, I think, an hour and a half to clean up, which was a nightmare. And honestly, not the way I wanted to start a show. I had somebody come and try to help me flip it back over, which was very nice, and people helped me move the cards back onto the table. But then that got in the way for the person sitting up with me at my table, and then the person next to my table. And so it was a little stressful that everybody was waiting on me personally. But the box made $100. And I would say of those 100, maybe 30 was from like our Chief section. The rest were from our $2 and our $5 jersey and autos. So not the worst, not the best there. It was something, honestly, it was a monster box. It's a 5-row box. If, I had the option to bring a box and somebody were to say, hey, you're gonna make $100 on this, is it even worth it to bring? Yes, it was. So right there, we're up to about 225-ish, 224. And then our case, because I'm doing bad math, brings us about to 350. And then other bumps us across that line, other basically being a few break spots that sold. I gave out some $5 coupons for that, and those seemed to work, sold at least a few break spots. So we went over 400 in 2 days of sales. The goal was 5. With the small table space I had, I obviously wasn't thrilled, but it makes sense on why not a lot of purchases could be made. In my next show I'm doing, which is this coming weekend in Sikeston, it's a 1-day show. We're going up Friday night. Show is Saturday, coming back Saturday night. The goal is more or less $300. It's a 1-day show. Yes, I think we have 12 feet of table room, and that's exciting. I'm gonna bring pick-through boxes. I'm doing new mystery bags and things like that. But I'm not going to expect the world out of a 6-hour 1-day show. That'll, odds are, probably be a one-off for us. It's not really worth it when you go to a show for a day and you're doing 8 hours of driving for 6 hours of selling. So that's something we're going to look into, and I'm going to bring you guys along for that one as well. That is essentially the video. We did decent. $400 in profit for a weekend for a lot of people, is not bad, but I want more, and I want to expect more out of myself and out of the shows. So with that being said, that's the 417 card show. Hopefully, better down the line. Hopefully, you know, we can continue to do more transparency and see what we can come up with. But that is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to like and subscribe if you're interested in this kind of content. Why don't you just go ahead and stick around, because next week is Sikeston, and I look forward to releasing that vlog for you guys as well. And I'll talk to you then.